Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of Game of Thrones, Blood of My Blood. So, overall I really liked this episode. There were some things that they did that was kind of in the same wheelhouse that they always do, but overall I really liked it in that it continued the season of actually moving arcs forward in meaningful ways. So, it started off with Bran and Mira escaping the Whites that the White Walkers had set upon them in the last episode. And while this is going on, Bran is still in kind of like his vision mode, so he's seen a lot of different things, mainly stuff that's been going on in the series that he might not have been there actually physically to see, and then other things from the past that are really interesting, such as the Mad King and his obsession with wildfire and everything. And we also got to see a snippet that was really interesting of someone bloody and another person clutching something in their hand. I think that is alluding to more stuff from the Tower of Joy, which we'll hopefully see more of before this season ends. And while this is going on, Mira's like freaking out because she's like, I'm sorry, Bran, they're gonna get us all. And then, out of nowhere, Cold Hands appears. The first instance, and what we've all been waiting for. Now granted, he's not called Cold Hands in this episode, but he comes through, has the appearance, everything, uses his flaming flail and hook to start taking out the Whites pretty quickly and pretty coolly too. This was really good action sequence just in this one bit alone. And then after that and taking Mira and Bran to safety, we switch over to Sam and Gilly, and they're kind of talking about why Sam left, how his father is not really good. He pretty much gave him the choice of either being killed or taking the Black. And that's a pretty crappy father. But granted, there's only certain instances of good fathers in Game of Thrones. And then they got to the house, and which was a giant fortification. I would not want to try and go up against that castle at all. And as they got in, they meet Sam's mother and sister, and they're really nice. You can see that there is some good in Sam's family. It's just mainly his father being a dick. And she was really warm and inviting to Gilly and the little Sam, and his sister even offered clothes for Gilly to wear, and it was really kind of cool to see that's where Sam gets his warmth from, and it's a really key strength of his, even though his father treats it as a weakness. So, then we cut back over to Tommen and the High Sparrow, and they're trying to figure out each other, but we've already known that the High Sparrow has Tommen pegged because this kind of stuff isn't Tommen's forte. He doesn't know how to deal with these kind of politicians yet. That's why he needs advisors to help him. And we can see the High Sparrow manipulating him and pretty much going, oh, well, how about we go see your wife now? And it's like, oh, he was ready to try and storm it, and he's like, I gotta let him get to that point and then offer it like, oh, here's me being gracious. And then we go to Margaery, and she seems very changed because she's talking about atoning for all of her sins and those of Loras and all that, and how she kind of wants to follow the gods and all that kind of weird stuff. It seems, I don't know if she's being sincere. I hope she's being more cunning that we've seen her be, because that would be kind of sad, because I think she's an interesting character, and if she's just kind of pulled into more the sway of the High Sparrow, it kind of undoes her a little bit, but it does more to show the kind of harsh realities of the High Sparrow, and that he's a master manipulator and can manipulate even those who are trying to manipulate him. And then we go back to Sam and Gilly, and they're having dinner with Sam's family, where his father shows completely why he is an ass. He's talking about how he thought that the Night's Watch would have made him a man, and that why is he going for an extra piece of bread? Isn't he fat enough? Just doing all this crap, and of course Sam's trying to make conversation with his brother Dickon, and he's like, oh, is this the deer you took down today? He's like, oh, no, there's not been time to cure it. I took it out at 70 yards and all that. And he's like, oh, that's really cool and good. And it's like the only person that's being a dick is his father. And they're like, oh, do you do much hunting up there? It's like, kinda. It's more like rabbits and squirrels and all that kind of stuff. And he's trying to show that and everything. And He's just getting down on Sam for not being the son that he wants. And then Joey kind of pipes up and is like, no, he's done a lot. He saved me up north. He saved people by killing a White Walker. He's done it himself. He's a great warrior. And then it comes out that Jilly and her baby are wildling, and this dude hates wildlings as well, and pretty much bashes him for doing that. And then his mother and sister take Jilly out, and he's like, all right, I'll keep him on, but she's going to be in the kitchens, and that's that. You'll never stay here again. And while this is going on, we also get to see another Valyrian steel sword, which is important, Heartsbane, which there's only a few of these throughout the Seven Kingdoms, and they're gonna need to be used against the White Walkers. We don't know how many are left in the White Walkers, like full-fledged ones, but we're gonna need everything that's there to kill them, to take them out. And it's really cool to kind of see that and see how it's been there for like 500 years. And I think that's going to be an important thing. So after that, he's like, well, this is the last night you're going to be staying here. You get out, you never return. And then he goes and apologizes to Jilly and everything and says, all right, I have to leave in the morning, and kind of leaves, and then comes back and says, screw this. You're coming with me. We need to do this together. It's like, all right, there you go. Acting how we need to act. Because this could have been done for like so many roundabout ways, but it's like, this is about getting to the good stuffs in the story and doing what needs to be done. And then on his way out, he's like, you know what? This is the family sword. I'm going to need this. Not my dad's, it's my family's. I'm just like, fuck yeah, Sam. Get that backbone. Tell your dad to screw off. You know what you're doing. You're gonna become a maester. You're gonna help the Night's Watch. You're gonna help the realm. Do your thing, man. Yeah. Then we get to see Arya, and she's doing more of her assassin mission, kind of seeing what needs to be seen. And it's really kind of interesting that we've seen how the world views what's been happening in Game of Thrones versus how we as the viewers have been seeing these events, because we see them kind of unadulterated, and then we see how the world itself views it, and that Ned was evil and stupid, that Tyrion is this evil imp trying to make events go his way, that Joffrey was, oh, not really that bad of a guy, and we're all like, bullshit, and then we see Arya just going like, yeah, right, and she goes in to pretty much kind of figure out what's going on, see what her way she can go. She poisons the drink of Lady Crane, and we also pretty much get confirmation. I mean, the Faceless Men don't say that it was this other actress that sent them to kill her, but you could see she knows Lady Crane's lines and pretty much wants her dead. So Arya puts that in, but then as the play's letting out, she gets cornered by Lady Crane, and they start talking, and she sees that Lady Crane is actually a very good person. And it really just kind of affects her more, because there's kind of this hypocrisy in the Faceless Men, in that they serve the many-faced gods, but they'll do contracts on other people for death. It's kind of like really kind of a strange way to do it, because you're saying you serve the many-faced gods, yet you take contracts like hitmen and will kill innocent people just because you say that it's part of your thing. Because, oh, death comes for the good and the bad alike, but it's like, but you're forcing that. You're not actually letting death take its natural course, which I think is an important point of this organization. And let's see. She's trying to kind of like figure out what she wants to do, and it was really interesting to see in Arya figuring out if she really truly wants to be a faceless person, because her personality is one of the strongest on the show. You try and take away the direwolf, the parts of Nina Stark and Needle, and I mean, you have someone with skills, but you could take away everything, and there's still that core of her that she can't let go. And I'm really glad to kind of see that. And after she's kind of talked with her, and right about as Lady Crane's about to take a drink, she bashes it out of her hand and says, I'd watch her for that one. She wants you dead. And I'm like, yeah. The Waif sees this, and then we cut to Jaqen H'ghar, and he's taking off the face of a dead body to add to the Faceless Men's giant bank of faces. And the wife's like, she failed. And he's like, oh, girl had many skills. Don't make her suffer. And it's like, it'll be interesting to see how this happens and how this goes. Because as this is going on, Arya gets Needle back. She's kind of making herself back into her as a person. And she's kind of ready for the other shoe to drop. And I know the waif can beat a girl who has no name. But can she beat Arya? Because Arya has the same skills as the girl who has no name and knows that you're coming. I think the waif will be overconfident, and that'll take him to a downfall. But will Arya have to go after Jaqen H'ghar, or the person who now wears Jaqen H'ghar's face? And will she be able to overcome him? That is going to be an interesting part. It'll be interesting to see where she eventually ends up. So, then we go to the kind of big showdown between the Faith and Jaime and Lord Tyrell. And they're pretty much trying to stop Margaery's Walk of Atonement. So he's got all of his forces. Olenna Martell's there as well. And Jaime's like, well, we're stopping this. Give over Margaery and Loras or else. I'm like, no, we could die today, but we don't have to. Because we now have brought someone else into the light of the seven, and then out comes the dummy. The one that has been fooled. And Tommen comes out with his Kingsguard that has changed armor, that has the 7-pointed star of the seven gods. And, oh yes, now the Faith and the Crown have been united as one. So taking the separation of church and state and fusing it. And now it's like, well, pretty much the High Sparrow's got power now. He's pretty much taken Cersei's place in dealing with them, and it's like, oh crap. Even Olenna's like, he's won. We're screwed. How are we gonna try and get out of this? And it's gonna be interesting because this is a big quagmire for them. They're not gonna be able to get out of this easily. Strange bedfellows are gonna have to be made to make sure that this High Sparrow gets taken out before other things need to happen for like the White Walkers and Daenerys and all that stuff. Otherwise, everybody's gonna get rolled on over and shit's gonna get down. Oh. So then it goes to Jaime, kind of saying that he had attacked. He was the one who had like attacked the Faith, was the same as attacking the Crown. He was standing in front of Tommen, and he's taken off his stuff, and he's pissed. He's like, I've been in the Kingsguard longer than you've been alive. And he's like, well, I can't deal with you. You will serve the family, but not in this city ever again. And I'm like, you truly are a fool to do that. He is making you in a position that you're screwed. And it was really interesting to see kind of, this is the second time that we've seen someone from the Kingsguard be kicked out. And it's weird because in the beginning you wouldn't really root for Jaime, but now over the seasons he's kind of the best of the bad, if that makes sense, because he sees what he does and wants to kind of change what he does, but yet still be with Cersei. If he didn't have Cersei, I think he'd be able to get better if he could move past her, but those two are probably going to kind of end up destroying each other because of their passion and because of their stupidity. So he's doing that, and he's talking to Cersei, and she's like, you know what? You have to go deal with the Blackfish. And that'll be the best use of your power, being in front of the army and doing all that kind of stuff. And before this, we had seen Walder Frey talking about how they had lost Riverrun and everything, and to the Blackfish, and he's pissed off at his sons. And they're like, go take it, we've got more men. But they start saying about like how the Mallisters, the Blackwoods, are like talking about rebellion, and then we get the answer of the Brotherhood Without Banners rallying up the commoners. This leads me to believe that we could possibly either see Beric Dondarrion again, or possibly Lady Stoneheart. I'm getting my hopes up, but we could, and I would love it, because stuff's really congealing together, and people are going to start clashing in interesting places. So they bring out Edmure Tully because they're like, well, we'll get him to stop. We've got him. we could kill him, and then they won't have anything. And it's like, oh shit, it's gonna get really, really bad really fast. Because Walder has no idea what he's doing either. It's shown that even though these villains can be cunning to get to power, once they get it, they don't know how to use it. Or they put incompetent people and it takes them down, and it's great. It's good to kind of see Karma come back and bite everybody in the ass. So, after they kind of get everybody together to kind of see what they're trying to do, we get back to Bran and Mira, and we get the revelation that Benjen Stark is Cold Hands. And it's like, yes, yes, he's alive, kinda, and he's kicking ass. And it's just like, finally, something's been answered. What happened to him? Well, he evidently went on a ranging. He got stabbed by a White Walker. A child of the forest came and stopped the magic, stuck an obsidian blade in his heart, and now he's kind of like the White Walkers, but not really. It's kind of a different magic, and it's like, yes. He's like, the three-eyed raven sent me, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, he's back here, and you'll be ready for the White Walkers when they're coming. I mean, you got an info. You've got it. You've got the power. It's just, you'll be able to learn how to control it. And I was like, finally, things are moving. They're going to have to get back south again, because that'll give Bran enough time to kind of start figuring out what he needs to do. Sam might be pivotal to that to kind of help him with how his powers are, because Maester's Citadel, big-ass library, he might find something vital. We don't know. We'll see. And then, the episode ends with Dany and the Dothraki. This is where I was kind of like, oh, we get another speech again, because she rides off, gets Drogon, who got fucking big, and like, alright, usually a call has 3 blood riders, I'm gonna make you all my blood riders. Will you follow me across the sea with conveniently needing 1,000 ships that was also mentioned before, because Euron Greyjoy was gonna build that many. We'll see. But it was kind of like, Dany, you've had to try and go conquer Westeros. You went the exact opposite way. And you've gotten into this corner of the world. You've just been kind of walking around in a circle. I want you to do something. I need you to do something. Because you got dragons! And that is needed to fight the White Walkers and assholes in King's Landing. And I'm like, I understand. She's very important. And it was even talked about by Nahario saying that she's a conqueror. And I think that's kind of where sometimes it fails. She is shown to be a better conqueror than someone who can kind of stay and manage things. That's more Tyrion's space. She goes and conquers people and be like, stop being assholes. And Tyrion's like, I gotta get this situation together and manage. So, it'll be interesting to see if she can actually handle what she can. If she's gotten too arrogant. Yes, she's gotten to places where she hasn't had power. But, she seems like, I will take what's mine through fire and blood. And I'm like, you'll need to do that eventually. But, will you be able to be powerful enough to stop yourself from always going to fire and blood? That's where we need to see the key. And that's why I'm excited to see where the next couple episodes go, and if she actually gets back to Marine, gets everything under control, gets them ships, and starts doing what we need to do. So, those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.